Garland.
Garland. Oh, that's important. Jai Baba, friends. We are now February 20th, meeting with 1924, 2024, meeting with Etzion Becker today, and we're just discussing a skit, the most beautiful garland in the world. All right, Etzion, I've set you up now. Maybe you had some other direction in which you're free to choose here.
It's on my website. You have my website, meirbabaisrael.com.
Yeah.
You go to English, there are Baba skits.
Mm-hmm.
You get it?
Oh, now.
I think he wants you to put it up.
Oh, shall we do that? Okay.
Yeah.
Take me a
Do
minute.
that, and he always wants someone else to read it that knows has a good English diction.
My computer's slow, so it'll take me a minute. Yeah. There we go. Okay, English. All right, I will share this. This is beautiful, what you have done. All right. Okay, English section, articles, letters, photos. Which one is it? Baba skits. Oh, I see. All right. Okay. So.
The last one, scrolled all the way down.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now, is this to be read by me, or is this like a narrator? Other.
Somebody who has a better accent than mine.
Okay. Are there parts? Are there different characters? Well, I guess
Sorry?
are there different parts? Are there different characters?
What do you mean by different characters?
Well, I'm looking at just perusing. There's Mara. I just wonder if there were different parts for people to read, like in a play, but it sounds.
Yeah, we have, of course, Meira is always, in many of my skits, Meira is playing a role, of course, also here.
Okay.
Here she's playing the main role. And then I will explain you later how this came and all these skits, how did they happen. So you can read it. It's short.
Yeah, okay. The most beautiful garland in the universe. I told you in the past how I enter the court of the beloved in heaven. Who is I? Who's speaking? Is this you?
Yes, myself. Yeah, I'm telling my stories.
All right.
In former skits, I made it up, of course. These are humorous. There is a guard. Nobody is allowed to get inside the court of the lords. And found all kinds of tricks. There is a guard, and I used to bluff him because I must go there and see how Baba is handling the operation of the universe.
Okay. I told you in the past how I enter the court of the beloved in heaven. Usually I cheat or bribe the gate Abdal. Abdals are totally obedient, but not really smart. So each time I come up with a new trick, deceive them, they learn my old tricks, but cannot figure out the new ones. Therefore, I continue sneaking into the court of the Lord. Not once I was caught by Upasni, who threw me with a good kick in the butt back to the harsh physical plane. But the wonders of beloved's court are such that I am willing to pay any price just for a glimpse of his beautiful face, which is 1,000,000 times more fantastic than what we could witness when he comes to this coarse plane. and of course, to tell you all kind of stories. Of course, the Lord knows about my criminal activity, but it seems that he is amused by that mischief amidst the most perfect place in the creation. It is hard to describe the serenity, the absolute centering of all concerned, the beauty, the dancing angels, the divine orchestra playing the celestial music, etc., etc. Actually, all that I am trying to portray here is like a shallow pudding. There is no language that is capable of expressing the wonders of the spiritual realms. The highest court in heaven comprises of the divine beloved as a center, surrounded by the lords of creation, almighty beings who create and destroy universes by thought only. The divine beloved, the center of all that is happening, actually does nothing. He is. However, what he really does is to keep on creating new states of consciousness, which usually he does when he comes to planet Earth, what we call an avataric advent. His real mission on Earth has been to create a new state of consciousness, which did not exist in the universe before. Humanity has become a challenge for the entire spiritual hierarchy, and only the highest of the high has ways of dealing with it. The consequences of his work are new states of consciousness which affect all realms in creation. Why on Earth? It is due to the fact that currently planet Earth is the school where souls can advance, learn, and achieve the highest goal of creation. Every new day, and you have a footnote, a day is a period of divine activity meant to create a new state of consciousness, which didn't exist before. So it's okay, a different kind of day. Every new day, Mara used to come and adore her beloved with a garland made of the most beautiful flowers in creation. She used to travel with her gopis from universe to universe, visiting their most wonderful gardens, and from each universe she would pick one flower, and thus would weave eventually a garland for Baba, which would please him very much. Actually, the lords of the universe compete between themselves who would plant the best garden in order that Mara will choose a flower from it. This is actually the real celestial wars in heaven. The universes are on a constant drive to create the most beautiful gardens for Mara. But of course, this is not happening in what we see through our physical eyes as the physical universe. So a new day has announced, and Mara walks into the court of the beloved with a garland in her hands. The court of heaven is the most resplendent place you can imagine. But unfortunately, we do not have the capabilities of envisioning it. We have to be there and experience it. This is the driving force beneath all our efforts to merge with the highest of the high. And when Mara walked in, the splendor of the garland in her hands actually shadowed the brilliance of the heavenly court. Such a beauty was never seen before. The lords of the universe who surround the beloved looked at each other with utter amazement. They did not know from which garden it came. They just looked at each other embarrassed and did not say a word. The beloved looked at his lords with sweet face and asked, I didn't know that you created such a beautiful universe without letting me know. This is a beautiful surprise. What I love the best about our beloved is that complete ignorance which he sometimes displays. We know that he knows everything, but when he asks such an innocent question, you are convinced that he does not know. His expression at such a time is simply amazing. But the lords of the universe only looked at each other with embarrassment and didn't say a word. No, Baba, said Mara curtly, the garland didn't come from any of these universes. From where did it come? This garland has been woven from your most dedicated lovers who gave their lives on the altar of serving you. Over the ages, Mara was collecting all the martyrs who lost their lives on the altar of truth. She not only did miss one single soul, but also collected all the tears. She did not miss one single soul, but also collected all the tears, all the drops of blood. But in this case, the Lord of Love really did not know what Mara has been doing. And to see his expression when the first time in creation he did not know worth, it was worth all the troubles in creation. Baba looked intently at the garden, and sure enough, these were not ordinary flowers, but faces of countless persons. Their faces were exceptionally beautiful, and their collective glow shadowed the overwhelming splendor of heaven. These are my lovers from planet Earth? Yes, Baba. And you great lords keep on telling me to dismiss this wretched humanity. It is of no use. Too much suffering, too much ignorance, a hopeless case. How did planet Earth have generated such a garland? I've never seen such beauty from day one of the creation. But the lords of creation only looked at each other with total embarrassment and didn't say a word. Then Mara started to recite the name of each face, and the list was very long. I think there were thousands of such faces, maybe millions, who could tell? And each name Mara announced, Beloved was kissing that particular face. From my little hiding nook, I barely heard the names. The divine orchestra was playing at full volume, due to Beloved's pleasure, but somehow I heard a few names. The tears of Moses, the 7 sons of Hannah, the blood of prophet Zechariah, the first Christians who were made torches by Nero. Al-Hallaj, I think Baba kissed his face twice. The endless martyrs of the Inquisition, Giordano Bruno, William Tyndale, and endless names I have never heard of. This took some time, since Beloved was concerned to give his special attention to each face. But this is a timeless zone. Nobody was rushing anywhere. The Beloved was glowing with pleasure, which is the purpose of creation. And all this time, he kept on sending from time to time sharp glances at his lords, which said, Would you keep on harassing me to dispose of humanity? But the great lords of creation just looked at each other with utter embarrassment and didn't say a word. Etzion Becker, 2017. That's a nice story.
Amazing beauty. Just amazing and touching beauty. מדהים, מדהים. מרגש.
Stop share?
I can tell you how this happened.
Tell us, yeah.
I used to write Baba stories since 2002. The first one I called the Brooklyn Bridge. You can see it on the list. Maybe it's not on the first place. I wrote it before we went to United States during 2002. We made a tour of, we spent some time in the West Coast, and then we went to the East Coast to Myrtle Beach. And I wanted to entertain the Baba lovers, so I wrote this skit. I made a joke. These are parodies to make, I was writing it to Baba to make him laugh. And then when we both were laughing very heartily, then I said, well, I should share it with the Baba lovers as well. So this what happened. These skits originally went to what used to be the Baba Talk list.
Oh. Oh.
If you remember it from the end of before 2000 and after 2000 for a few years. And actually, when we went to the tour of 2002 in United States, it was also a tour of the people whom I met on the Baba Talk list. Some of them at least. So I wrote, she started there, and each year I was writing a skit. It just came up. It made people happy, and I think this one, the last one, is the best. What was, how it came. Some of the skits I was thinking about this, preparing it, and it was work. But this one, for a change, I was driving from Jerusalem to Tel Aviv. And in the past, not once, I had all kinds of glimpses of Baba's divinity. I told you that I experienced his godhood, 72. And here and there were, from time to time, something would happen. And I was driving from Jerusalem to Tel Aviv. And on the way, there are only 2 or 3 stops where you can stop and park safely. And I came close to the last curve before Tel Aviv, before the airport. Michal knows where is it. And there is a large place where you can get off and wait if you need to. And as soon as I got to that place, this scene hit me like a thunder. What I experienced is the face of Baba, who he was enfolding his lovers. I got this picture, I got this scene. His face as something which cannot be described. It's indescribable. His concern, his love for his lovers was something like this. I lost myself, and I was half an hour. I was parking there and sobbing like a little child. Usually I'm in fairly good control, but when you see such a thing, you cannot. It's beyond human. This what happened. So when I calmed down, I wrote it down. Usually I keep a notebook with me, so I wrote it down, but it was quite powerful. So that was the story. I hope you enjoyed it. There are
Yeah,
more
it made me
stories.
cry. The scene made me cry too. It's very
Sorry?
touching, and it's the scene that you describe at the
Yes.
end where he's
In
kissing.
many of my skits, Baba, the lords of creation cannot stand his suffering because we
Oh,
cause tremendous amount of suffering for the entire universe, and it impinges upon on Baba himself. And in my skits, as I cannot stand it any longer, in the hell which is going on here, there's a constant criminal activity and horrible things happening here on a non-stop, and most of it we don't know. And then they cannot stand his suffering, so they decided to get rid of us, not once. At least in one of the skits, you can see that I saved humanity, and they Upasni comes to Baba and said, Baba, all the lords voted against humanity. You must add your signature in this case. And Baba was delaying it. And I was hiding there and I was making all kinds of funny faces to Baba, and Baba started to laugh. And when Baba started to laugh, he couldn't sign. So Upasni was getting mad. And I was hiding there and he couldn't find me because he passing find, you have to understand this kind of, it's I made it up, of course, it's a plain imagination, but it is entertaining. So I kept on making funny faces to Baba, and Baba couldn't control himself, and he started to roll on the floor laughing madly. And then Meira rushes inside the court, shouting to Upasna, what did you do again to Baba? And Baba was laughing so hard that he was sobbing. And Meira was collecting his tears and drinking it. It's one of the skits. So that's what it is. Just to show his infinite compassion. Nobody, presumably, that's my feelings. There's no force in the universe who would allow all this travesty on earth to continue. I don't want to give you some details of what's going on. Just a little bit that we know from the news drives most of us crazy. So this is just a trickle of what's really going on. The suffering of the mineral, plant, and the animal kingdom is million times stronger than the suffering of humanity. Humanity suffers according to the law of karma. We don't need to complain about this. This is a ruthless law, the just law, and the magnitude of suffering is because we don't do the job which was ordained for humanity to adjust the movement of the souls in creation. This is a long story. I don't know if Lutfi is here. She has to talk about the spiritual circles. In order to minimize the suffering on earth, groups of spiritual people who are centered in the divine beloved should learn how to work together in harmony without fighting with each other. The closest simile to this or example is a musical band. You put 40, 50 people there together. There could be people who otherwise wouldn't be able to sit together, and all of them have to listen to the conductor or conductress, and otherwise there's no music, and if one person is off tone, it destroys the music. And actually, this is the closest, the musical band, I have understood this example since I'm studying music already 50 years. And Baba gave me this inspiration to study music from 72. As soon as he walked into my life, before that, I didn't want to study anything. And as soon as he walked into my life, I started to study music and other things very sincerely. And over the years, when I started to join musical bands, I was playing the flute. And many times I was playing in Mehrabad for the arty. And in the beginning, I also studied the piano. In the past 10 years, I switched to the bassoon, with the fagot. And with this instrument, I'm playing with our band here in Haifa. And I learned while participating in the musical bands, this is actually, in a way, a spiritual circle. People are getting together, obeying a point of focus, and they must to cooperate. They cannot start arguing and shouting at each other like our parliament or wherever you put a group of human beings together. They must to conflict and argue with each other. Here, there's no such a thing. That's the only situation on earth that human beings can work together with complete cooperation. And in a spiritual circle is something of much higher quality, because the participants are aware they're doing spiritual work and they focus on the divine beloved. Musicians, you don't expect them to be focused on the divine beloved in order to create spiritual energy on earth. It's not in their minds. But they do some spiritual work nevertheless, because when you come to a concert and everything goes well, there is some energy. You can experience energy in every good musical concert. This
Etzion,
poem, yes, ma'am.
are you saying that you didn't have any kind of a musical background before, like as a child? Did you learn an instrument or any of that?
I started, no, they asked me if I'm interested. I was not interested with anything. Till Baba walked into my life, I had no interest with anything. That's a strange story.
Wow,
How-
you have a lot of talent musically. You play a lot, and you play in an orchestra, and wow, that's amazing that this all came up after your
Yes,
inter-
the first years were very hard, of course, because I started late. I was 22 or 23. It's ancient already. Music, you have to start 8, 9 latest, because and after all, I've been to a very severe training in the army. I was serving in one of the toughest units of the Israeli army, and I participated in the war of '67 and wars after that. You know, it was a lot of physical and mental hardships. And eventually understood that it was, after many years, it was training for later on, needed training for the work I had to do for Baba. Because the work for Baba was not work for, as he said, the faint-hearted and the weak. And my colonel in the army in the Six-Day War of '67 was regarded as one of the craziest colonels in the Israeli army. He was a real mishugener. You know what is a mishugener, I believe. And he was a fruitcake. He was, you cannot, I'm not complaining, but he was very tough and abusive and very harsh, because each mistake we did, somebody died. We made mistakes, somebody would die. That's what it is. There's no second chance. So he was very particular, and he was participating in many wars. Since age of 14, he joined the resistance against we unfortunately we are fighting with Arabs for 100 years. They started the war, unfortunately. It's a big tragedy, which maybe from time to time I will address it a little bit. To Baba taught me, well, I explain you in the formal sessions how Baba taught me how to deal with sanskaras. So actually what I've been doing, working with the sanskaras on both sides. And you have to bring it to him. And I was explained in a way, I was actually, he's the Lord and he's everywhere. Why he's not doing it? And the answer is that he cannot help people unless they surrender to him. They have to accept him first. Otherwise, he can help behind the scenes. He helps the way he is helping, from my understanding, by his very coming here, that he gives us second chance. So we can keep on working, advance spiritually, and develop more understanding, and having more opportunities of helping humanity. And he's presumably the only one who can do it. Otherwise, perfect masters, they cannot cope with us at a certain stage. So he has to come.
Yeah.
This what he explained to us, and I understood all this without reading anything. When I had this experience of his godhood. So here we are, and we have continue to have more chances. So this group, for example, this is spiritual circles. We have a few people together, and listening, sharing together, and we don't have any hard arguments. Arguments are welcome. I would welcome arguments, criticism. I share with Baba lovers on the net, on the Facebook and other places, and I see their grievances and complaints about this and that. And I feel sorry about this because this is not our business to worry about all the problems in creation, but only to center on him. And this is also the first sin of humanity is not we ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, but we turned away our focus from the divine beloved. When we ate this what we did, we tried to improve the creation. If you take the example of a musical band, one of the players decided while playing that his tune is better. And you know what happens if somebody plays his own tune during a concert? Everything falls apart. So this is what happened, the fall of humanity. We try to improve the creation, but of course we cannot do it because we don't have the vision to see the in and outs, all the problems of creation. And we can see it today, so, or whatever we do to improve the creation, it gets only worse. And we so if we continue like this, turning our back to the divine beloved, the suffering will increase. And we are at the verge of self-annihilation. Might. Maybe not, I hope not, but we never know. It's not in our hands. What it is, the negative, most of you humanity is in deep ignorance. I listen and I hear scholars and professors and many people who wish to do good. One professor, I have some kind of personal acquaintance, and they don't have any understanding whatsoever what's going on. They don't have any understanding whatsoever the problem of creating sanskaras. They don't have any idea whatsoever that in order to advance spiritually, advance creating new states of consciousness, it creates sanskaric problems in our subconscious mind. And Baba has been the master of sanskaras. In this Advent, he said that his specialty is dealing with sanskaras, binding impressions. And also Upasni was dealing with sanskaras in the same way Baba has been dealing. But of course, Baba is the clearest spiritual master on earth. I have looked at a few under his guidance. I was not so interested. He was only wanted me to get acquainted with a few spiritual groups, and I could tell the difference. He is the clearest. His discourses, just for example, on the sanskaras and the ego, are unprecedented in the human, in the history of spiritual material. And unfortunately, the world is not interested. Here in Israel, if to say a few words on the what happened or is happening in Israel from the Meir Baba standpoint, and spirituality in general. So in the article I wrote about Kerry Ben Shammai in the discourses, at the end I'm writing that during 1991, I wrote that Baba has turned his key for Israel. What happened that he all of a sudden appeared in the TV. There was a program on spiritual masters, and he had articles published in New Age magazines. And I thought maybe something is going to happen. 1994-5, I got a call from a group of people, spiritual group, founded by a psychic or mystic from Britain by the name of David Cousins. And he had an agent in Israel. He was declared as God realized, and she was a sixth plane master. And he said to them that there are 5 aspects of the avatar, and Meir Baba is one of them. So what happened, they called me for details in Meir Abad because I went to visit Meir Abad because this is a place of the avatar, one of the avatars of the 5, if there are more people who are avatars. Baba said we all avatars. I mean, there are more spiritual masters who work for humanity, who have the same consciousness. It is possible. Baba didn't deny it, by the way. And but it's not our concern. So I gave them details how to get to Meirabat, and they got to Meirabat, and the group of more than 20 people, beautiful people. You wouldn't expect better than this, and they came to Meirabat. The money proclaimed, at last we have a Baba group in Israel. But I knew beforehand that they came to one of the places with the 5 avatars. Sorry. This money, of course, they know, and I didn't say anything. Next time I came to Meirabat, somebody told me this during the 90s. That money said such a thing, but of course I didn't dare to say anything. It's none of my business. But what happened? We were quite close. We used to get together as a group because they used to go to India again and again. And Meir Baba was the focus often. But one day, one of the disciples of the masters of the sixth plane master kindly suggested to me that it would be good for me to become her disciple. So I had nothing against her, of course, in person, but I'm happy with my master. The eyes of the eye, I cannot expect anything higher than this. So what happened, since I didn't accept this honorable invitation, we started to drift away until we broke apart completely from 2002 onwards. All these relations came to an end. And since then, actually, there was very little happening in Israel concerning Meir Baba. To my knowledge, there are few people here and there, we had a few little meetings here and there in Israel, between 5 to 10, sometimes, often at Michal's, and sometimes other places. But the past 4, 5 years, excuse me, there was actually very little or nothing. But what happened, I said that eventually in 1980 I had to take the center from Kerry Benjamin. And before that, I had to undergo some kind of, between 72 till 79, but due to my nature of surrenderance and my willingness to share his burden, as I told him, as I suggested, I was given all kinds of tasks, working on all kinds of very difficult and very painful sanskaras, as you can call it. I didn't call it. I didn't have a clue at that time of what it is and what I am doing. I was dealing with very dreadful issues, and as a consequence of this, I lost any interest whatsoever of any spiritual gain. Also, meaning I'm working for him without any expectation whatsoever. I don't care if the people come or don't come. I published quite a few and translated a few, quite enough of material. It's on my website, on the Israeli side. And I think more than 10 or 15 pieces over the years, including the discourses. And from the discourses which I published, maybe I sold 5 of 100. But I knew, after I learned what was happening with Kerry Ben Shammai, who was very active and she was very concerned. She was running all over the country trying to convince people that Meir Baba is avatar, and she couldn't understand why the world is not running to Baba. Because Baba, when she met him, he almost turned her to a mastani. She almost lost her connection with the earth. Almost. She was on the verge of becoming a mastani, I think. I'm not sure about this, but she was not balanced. She had very great difficulty in living on the physical realm. without the close connection with Baba. So strong was the impulse he gave her, on purpose, most likely. And if you speak about Carrie, and I wanted to tell the final meeting I had with her. I met her 2 months, I think, before she passed away. And as I told before, after she came back from Meir Abad in 79, I brought her to Meir Abad, 79, and she came back. It was one of the Baba lovers, brought her back to Israel. And she stopped walking. She became disabled. And I had to help her a whole year. After a year, she moved to a home. I told the story. And I took the center. And I kept on visiting her and helping. She was not an easy person, to say the least. And the home, I had to go to the home and help the people because I knew how to take care of her. And I saw her 2 months before she passed away. And by the way, she asked me if I have time to narrate her Baba story. But I didn't have the time, or I didn't give the time. Maybe I made a mistake or not. But I saw her 2 months before she passed away. And what happened? She had this sickness which caused her eventually to stop talking at all. She was falling asleep from the bottom up. Presumably it went up and she couldn't talk. Because she was shuddering non-stop, and because she didn't have the faculty of listening quietly to another person. She had to all the time to express herself. That's why I never told her that I experienced the divinity of Meir Baba. And she thought she was giving the center, her precious center, to some nobody from the street. And what happened during this last meeting, we tried to unfold her and talk to her till we start to speak about Meir Baba. As soon as we started to talk about Meir Baba, I did, or maybe she managed to say a few words, hardly. Then what happened? What was that, this expression, the angel comes forth? There is an angelic being within each one of us. And what I saw when we were centered on Baba, this angel came forth. I saw something which I didn't see before. Before that, there was this not easy person, to say the least, difficult, getting mad, upset. And all these years, 14 years, I was sharing with her on and off. And each time I would come to see her, I would see Baba's face. The expression said, you just dare get on odds with my Kerry. I was scared, really. I was really scared. So I will not break his words, which I didn't. Not because I'm so clever, but because his expression was very fierce. Some kind of instruction, you don't dare to break this instruction. With other instances, it didn't happen so strongly. He let me make endless mistakes and learn. So I saw an angel and not a human being. And then I knew that I was head all along, that Baba was tricking me, dealing with a person, and I didn't know with what I was doing. I was totally overwhelmed when I looked at this spectacle. I really saw an angel on earth. It's hard to explain it. And I knew that Baba had a good laugh on my expense. You just imagine putting these two characters together all these years. Baba enjoyed doing such things, putting impossible people together, opposite characters. And that was his pastime. This was his entertainment, to see these two people, how they get along, how they survive, put them together in the same room. It was often with a mandali. They had to cope with each other. We put impossible people together. And presumably, I know, so that this lifespan, he had a few good laughs on my expense. And if he would ask me what is the highest achievement in the universe, for me, is to make him laugh. I don't see anything higher than this. I wouldn't trade it for anything else. I don't know what is God realization. I don't know what is this liberation. I don't know what states of consciousness. I know what it is when he laughs. This I know. This little I know. So the rest I don't care. I never, I don't think once in this lifespan I asked him about spiritual advancement when the people, the disciples wanted all these visions and all these things. And when I will be liberated, I think it never crossed my mind. It just was sharing with him how I'm going to cope with this day, how I'm going to cope with this project. It was the most mundane things. So that's all what I share with him. It's funny, nothing spiritual.
Etzion,
Yes, ma'am.
maybe it's still not too late for you to write the story of Carrie. You know
I
that.
did. I did.
Sorry.
Yes, I collected. I spent a lot of effort collecting all the details about her. I wrote her story, all the details about it's on my website. The story of Carrie Ben Shammai, the Hebrew discourses. Maybe we can read it once. I have most of the details about her. It took me years to collect material. I managed to collect videotapes that were checking of her, 3 videotapes. For example, I was often, while I was visiting Meher Abad, I was sharing with Peter Booth in his office. And there, I used to sit in his porch and making wood carvings. I also do artwork, wood carvings. I did the wood carvings of the doors for the NPR, for the reception and the waiting room. If you've been there, there are wood carvings on the doors. I did it for Ted Judson. I was on his team. Each time I came to Mirabad, I was doing some work for him. So he requested me to do this kind of work. He asked me what I can do. I told him I do also wood carvings and all kinds of things. At that time, early 2000s, I was thinking that I will move to Mirabad. Bauji, one day while I was in his office, he told me that they are inviting us to move to Mirabad, to stay in Mirabad. And prior to this, three separate individuals in Israel and abroad told me that I finished my work for Baba in Israel. And I was thinking, what? Maybe I'll spend the rest of my life in Mirabad. It was really, I thought, a dream coming true. And he came from Baoji. I didn't request anything, of course. He offered it. While I was there, before the public, if you want to move to Mirabad, and they will give us an apartment and help us this and that. And I thought, this might be wonderful. So I started to come often to Mirabad, like 2 or 3 times a year, making preparations, started to arrange this and that, what it's going to be. But since I had some kind of training with Baba, I learned when I reach a crossroad, I better be prepared for both directions. Maybe I need to go to the right, maybe I need to go to the left. Maybe what it is that I learned to be flexible and to leave him the decision. And what happened, I think 2001, I was on sabbatical my mother passed away. That's also interesting Baba story. Maybe one day I'll tell it. Because my personal stories, as Baba said, the family people of his lovers are being benefited. And this also happened to my family. It might be interesting Baba story to tell your chance. So I prepared, yes.
Sorry. I just thought I would quickly show, you're absolutely right. There's your website about you, Carrie. I can just show quickly what's there. And
Okay.
then you can see, later you could choose to talk about, obviously there's several talks there, but so here is the section on Carrie Ben Shammai. All these photos, her at Myrtle Beach, when she met Baba, and then obviously a lot of articles here. So there's a lot here to,
Yes. You can spend just on this website a few sessions.
yeah, obviously, right.
This is the most detailed section of Carrie Ben Shammai at all.
Wonderful. Yeah, okay.
And what happened while I was there at Peter Booth's office, I was chatting in his room, and Martin Cook came. Martin Cook, who sits there, and I think he's still living there, if I'm not wrong. He was a photographer of Pete Townsend. And it so happens that while we were sharing there in Peter Booth, I spoke about Carrie Ben Shammai, and Martin said, I took a video of Carrie Ben Shammai during 1971 in Oceanic, in London. She came to visit. So, of course, I was turned on. I said, you have a video of Carrie Ben Shammai? I must have it. And then there was, in Mirabad came Richard O'Casey. He was in charge of the archive of Pete Townsend, and he lives in Norwich. So he asked me, Richard, if I want to help him with archival work and office work and this and that. I said yes, but my main interest was to hunt the lost video of Carrie Ben Shammai. Martin told me that he took the video and it is buried somewhere in the archive of Pete Townsend, which contains rooms and rooms of material. It's unbelievable amount. So I went twice to Norwich, write it, Norwich, and tried to get the video, which of course I didn't succeed. And but I spent some time there, and I made a contact with the office of Pete Townsend. So I had to send him a letter that I'm requesting the video. So because I opened this communication with the office of Pete Townsend, I could send him mails from time to time asking what's happening with the video. And it took a few years, and I kept on nudging quietly from time to time. What's happening with the video? It's very precious. It's the only evidence of Carrie Ben Shammai and this and that. I think I didn't know, maybe I knew at that time that Irwin Lack and his brother interviewed Carrie Ben Shammai in Jerusalem. And also this video I received, and it's on the website. I think we have 3 videos of Carrie Ben Shammai. This is really very, 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 very rare footage. And she's telling her story, how she came to Baba. And put it to writing. And eventually, due to my persistence, they made a search in the archive and they discovered the lost tape in one of the trunks. And they transferred it to digital form and mailed me the CD, the DVD. And I placed it on the internet, on the community. So this is the story of this video. And every little detail, there's endless Baba stories.
Yeah, No doubt.
No doubt. No, it's non-stop Baba stories for everything. That's quite amazing ride. Not easy, but very rewarding and a lot of fun.
So
Um,
we could do maybe next time.
yes. Here is a Lutfi. I just noticed. I didn't notice. Sorry. Lutfi, are you
She
here
was
from the
here all the
beginning?
time. She was here from the beginning.
Because I spoke about she wanted me to talk about the spiritual circles. And we have
Thank
more
you.
time.
She was
I
there. She was there. She was here.
okay,
Yeah.
then I shared a little bit on the spiritual
Yeah.
circles.
Yes,
This
I
is
heard it. Thank you.
just on a nutshell. We can go deep into it, and we can make exercises a little bit, participating in spiritual circle, which is it's like participating, creating the music, the heavenly music on earth. That's the purpose of the spiritual circle. And without the problem of humanity that we broke the spiritual circles, this is the story of that we ate the forbidden fruit is we decided we were in the Garden of Eden. This is a state of consciousness of complete harmony that all of humanity worked together like a symphony. Everybody was playing his own tune. Everything blended more or less together. Also in perfection, in the state of perfection, there are imperfections on purpose. Not everything is supposed to be perfect in perfection. And we humans decided that we can be, because we are intelligent or what we think, that we should improve the creation and create a better music. But you know very well, if you participated if you go to a concert and one of the musicians will decide to play his own tune, everything breaks down. The whole thing becoming, it's a scandal. It's an uproar. The whole audience will go mad. It breaks apart everything. If one, the slightest error, the slightest mistune sends very strong, powerful disco. So this what we did is an analogy of what happened in the Garden of Eden. Why am I writing it? Because I told you in one of the former sessions that while in Meherabad, I was requested to write a story about Israel or Judaism for now Sherwan and Zara. We met in Meherabad. It was 2007, I think, 6. And after this, we had this meeting. I was strolling in Meherabad, and at a certain point, I had the vision of the very first word in Genesis. And when I look, which is in Hebrew says Bereshit, and it's strongly translated into as in the beginning. It is not in the beginning. What I saw, a picture, like a vision, in my mental imagination. There was nothing external. I don't have any external visions of gods and all these things. Everything is natural. But not once I was inspired in Meherabad and other places. I have the experience of the garland. I experienced it. That's why I wrote it. That's why it's so powerful. I had the real vision, in a way, inside myself. And I experienced the very first world as like the Big Bang, that the whole, that the infinitude, the oneness was shattered to manyness, to endless individuals. That was the picture of the world, the very first world in the Hebrew Bible. And of course, you cannot translate it, you have to experience it. And there are many translations, and nobody, of course, knew it. For me, I knew it, because Baba decided I should know it. Nothing of my own idea or intelligence. I don't know, of my own. If he doesn't tell me, if he doesn't send me any inspiration, from where I'm supposed to know? And the ancient mystics said that the book of Genesis, especially the first chapter, when the ancient adept, the mystic, or the initiate was reading it, he was experiencing the process of creation. It was really like going to the movies. But today we lost it completely. This is just a dry book. In order to re-experience it, we have to re-establish our communication with a perfect master science avatar. And when we broke the celestial symphony, the celestial musical band, we started to develop unnatural sanskaras, very hard, negative sanskaras, which we didn't know how to erase. And we can erase sanskaras only when we work as a spiritual group, as a spiritual, like a band, under the directive of a master of the planes. And he directs the music in order to adjust the movements of the beings on Earth, in the universe, in order there won't be so much negative sanskaras. And when it comes to negativities, the spiritual group knows how to negate it. So they make everything less. And if we would work properly, and Baba said, we would suffer only 1% of the current suffering. And the suffering is because we are not doing the works. That's why he comes to help us. He doesn't judge us. He's not saying, sitting as a condemning us, say, you guys, he said very harsh words towards us, to humanity. But he's not, he comes to help. He's not judging. He's unique. And there's no being in the universe who is capable of doing what he is doing, to negate. He's taking on himself all these bad sanskaras, and he's destroying some of them so we can bear it. Because otherwise we won't be able to bear the suffering any longer, and the whole this creation will explode. And it might happen. He said it might happen, maybe not. It's up to, maybe we're given the means to destroy this world. Maybe it will continue. We will see. I don't know. I don't care also. Even if he will come to me and tell me there is one day left in creation, I will continue doing my work, which is to erase sanskaras. He taught me, he gave me a special personal tutorial how to erase sanskaras. This was going on for 15 years, from 76 till 91. Only after 15 years or so and more, I just started to understand a little bit of what it is, which kind of work it is, because I could see the results. It took some time. Let's say I was working with father, mother, my family, very hard feelings. And the instruction was, don't go to the past, it doesn't matter. Because you always have, during the process of creation, you always had a father and a mother. You didn't have 50 millions of them, it's only two. So deal with these two. And I was dealing with these two, and the brothers and family members and people, friends, acquaintances, all the problems, working on each individual or each situation till everything became clear. I didn't feel any resentment, any negative feeling towards anyone. And I refused to harbor any hard feelings against any person. And this is my training in this life. To refuse to have any grudge against anyone. And after 25 years, I got the hint or the insight that not to hate anyone, to stay in such a state of that you don't keep any grudges, it is a preliminary, it's the beginning of loving. If you keep any grudge whatsoever against any individual, you cannot love. This is just, you love only those who like. This is not love. It's not divine love. This divine Baba doesn't hate anyone. Those who crucified him, he loves them nevertheless. He didn't stop loving those who nailed him. How can we do? Who can do such a thing? We cannot do such a thing. I don't think I would. We are humans, and we don't like to suffer. And if somebody causes us suffering, and we don't bless him, but in particular, but we can reach a state that we do not keep any negative feeling towards anyone. And this is the prerequisite, as I understood at that time from this insight, that we were giving the opportunity, humanity, any person, whomsoever, that if you don't keep any negative feeling towards anyone, then we will be able to enter the sphere of perfect love. This is the sphere of the avatar, and stay there till the end of creation. And such a gift was never given to humanity from day one. This is the highest gift, to my understanding, to my experience. I experienced it. And this is what he wants all of us to. And I can see again and again, many people who are involved in this ministry, in this Baba world, and not as well as many other ministries, spiritual groups, so much hatred, people don't get along. I don't need to get along with everybody, but I don't need to have any bad feelings against anyone. I refuse to have any grudges. I have been working on this. It's already automatic. I don't think about this. As soon as I feel something negative, it is being erased automatically without any thought about this. Eventually, during this process, which Baba himself was sitting on me day and night, he was holding me. So we learned, because it was very painful process to deal with all these evil monsters which kept on surfacing from the subconscious mind. Who knows with what I had to deal, all the kinds of ugly dinosaurs, horrible things. It was really horrible. And it still does. But I simply learned how to cope with this cheerfully. And it takes decades of training. And what was understood is if the worst person in the universe, suppose Hitler, would come to the gate of perfect love, and the gatekeeper is blind, meaning he has no respect for person. If would be the closest person to Baba, he doesn't know, but he smells if you have grudges. And if you have a grudge, you are being repelled from this sphere. Take it as you wish. If I'm telling a story, or this is real, but why to gamble?
Yeah.
Why to gamble? We are Baba lovers, so if he calls us a Baba lovers, he doesn't hate anyone, so we should join as a club of non-hating. To love as he loves, we cannot. I don't pose like this, it's not possible. But not to hate, we can. The humans can reach a state that we don't keep any grudges against anyone. And then we have the opportunity of entering the sphere of perfect love and stay there. This is, as far as I'm concerned, is the highest gift. What is God realization? I don't know, but to stay in this aura of perfect love, this we can experience. I have experienced this. Why not to stay there? He wants us to stay there. And according to my humble understanding, I'm writing in my skits that it takes infinitude to reach this state naturally. And he wants us to be there because why he gave this highest gift? Because we are at the lowest ebb. We went all the way at the bottomless pit. So he gave us the highest gift. That's what it is.
So that's a good place. We're a little hour. It's about that's a good
Yeah,
note to end on. But
that's a good point to end.
I want to speak one thing. I may have to change our time. I'm just starting a new part-time job. I don't know
Okay,
yet my schedule. So
okay,
we'll continue, but you and I will talk about what time, and everybody else who's just look at the calendar. The calendar will maybe you
fine,
could let Sophia know. Uh
fine.
it'll be, yeah, we'll just talk about it. And I don't, like I say, I don't know today what.
Because your time now is 12, now it's 1,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. No,
And
yeah, in New York, it's one. Yeah, my
and,
time is
and our time in Israel, it's 8 in the evening.
yeah. So
So I can make it later. I don't care. I can make it late night, whatever you will decide.
thank you. We will talk. Well, now we have the telephone numbers.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
fine.
Okay. And
Because it is being recorded, and I noticed that many people viewed it. So I hope these messages will come to the people that stop breaking Baba's orders, don't get involved with politics, don't backbite, don't don't get involved with all these negative sanskars. You will lose this advent.
right. Mhm.
This one of the messages I got.
Oh,
The
great.
people are losing the benefits of this advent because they think that they are sensitive people. They see suffering, but we don't understand what is behind the veil. We
Right.
cannot understand. That's why he warned us. Don't get involved. You don't need to understand. Just stick to me and ignore this stupid world. Don't get involved with this. Why these people are fighting with each other, the injustices, children are dying, and this and that. It's none of our business.
It's hard, very hard to stay.
Stay away. Don't get involved. I live in the middle, in the midst. I'm inside the eye of the hurricane, and I'm not emotionally involved. I do my work to erase some scars, and there is directives, and I'm not emotionally involved. People live, people died. It's all an illusion. It's not real. So why? But when you get emotionally involved, then you call yourself a setback. That's the point. And this is a tragedy. If somebody after eons and eons, billions of years, comes to the threshold of the avatar, and we take it for granted. There's so few coming, few thousands, tens of thousands. The numbers are very, very few. And
Well,
how can we gamble with this? This
it
is
will
really
come.
simple.
It will come. Yeah.
No, we have to focus on him and ignore this world. Don't try to fix this world. This is a sin. The sin is that we're trying to fix this world. We cannot do this. Leave it alone. Nobody suffers in vain. There's all these people who are suffering, they're paying their karma and they're losing some scars. If they're thankful, they can erase some scars. The people I experienced it in war. The people going to war, they undergo a cleansing. I've experienced it. I can talk about this. So by talking about this, I can explain to people why is it? Because he taught me this. He sent me to wars, many wars, and during this experiences, I learned the necessity of this thing, and now he is taking advantage of it to uplift humanity. So don't get upset about these things. Everything is under control. And if you complain and judge, you doubt his control. He is a ruler. We leave it alone. He does whatever he needs to. That's the point.
Okay.
If somebody wants to say something, write something, please.
Anybody have questions?
Well, I just wanted to say that all Etzion talked about is such a vast subject that it would be nice to continue, because he's just pointed from a distance. So it would be nice to have it a little bit more developed each time.
Bring your question, Lupier, next time. Bring your comment.
That's not my question.
No, we
That's
can
for
go
the
deep.
coming
We can-
sessions.
we
Hopefully
certainly-
there will be.
We can each time, if so
Yeah.
you wish, we can lift the bar. We can make it like in sports, you know, you have this
The
bar where
bar
people
is
jump.
quite high today
can live.
anyway.
We can go deeper and deeper. I think it was a nice session. We touched many deep
Yes, we did.
issues, and I hope the community will be benefited. This is the most important thing. The people pay heed. Most of the people don't understand what sanskaras are. I know the discourses are not easy, and it takes time. But Baba, this is very important for us, at least to understand the discourses on sanskaras and the nature of the ego and its elimination. These are basics. This is a must read. We have to read. I read it maybe 40, 50 times because I had to.
Oh.
I had to. I was obliged to do this by his order of Kerry Ben Shammai. She ordered me to do this, and then I told you, I said to Baba, well, it's not possible. Then he gave me a good kick in the butt, and then I did it. That's the way it works.
All right, then, we'll go
Okay.
for it. All right, and you and I will talk, Etzion, and we'll about, and anybody can look at it. Cal, you let Lutfier know what the new time is, if we have, I think we will have one by next week. And, okay,
Lovely.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate this.
Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
Teacher.
Thank you all. Okay, off we.
Thanks.